Hello everyone, welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zheng. Recently, a story has spread all over the Chinese internet. A mysterious 23-year-old Chinese woman in Sydney, Australia, caused a car crash. Around her identity, a huge guessing game broke out online. The heat of this case surprised many people. At the same time, the mix of truth and lies forced us to ask a serious question. How much further can Xi Jinping's road of dictatorship really go? Today, let's talk about this case and about this question. So on July 26th, around 3:30 in the morning, a Tiffany blue Rolls-Royce was spreading through Rose Bay, a very wealthy area in Sydney. At the same time, a black Mercedes was on the road, driven by a man named George Plazaras. Plazaras is not just any driver. He is well known in Sydney as a chauffeur to local celebrities, including big radio star Kyle Sandinas. The impact was brutal. Plazaras was trapped, suffering broken hips, a broken spine, broken ribs, and both femurs fractured. He had to be cut free and rushed to the hospital. The driver of the Rolls-Royce was LanLan. She walked away without serious injuries. It must be noted, LanLan was driving on the wrong side of the road, so she should bear full responsibility for the crash. Police at the scene said she failed the roadside breath test. Later, at the police station, she refused the official breath analysis.
Hi, I'm Lucy. I work for Daily Mail.
So she was charged with several offenses causing bodily harm by misconduct, driving under the influence, and refusing a breath test. She was granted conditional bail, surrender passport, a nightly curfew, and driving ban. At first, this looked like a normal traffic case. Local Australian English media reported it that way. But in Chinese social media, nobody paid attention until much later. Ten days later, on August 7th, shocking reports suddenly appeared on Chinese social media. They claimed that this 23-year-old woman from China had instantly paid 70 million Australian dollars in cash bail, about 45 million US dollars, and that it was transferred to the court from her account immediately. Then came an even bigger claim. The court had checked her bank records and she had 270 billion Australian dollars in deposits, about 174 billion US dollars. Such incredible numbers sparked massive attention. Everyone wanted to know who exactly is LanLan. Why does she have such shocking wealth? Yet, no matter how hard people searched, they found nothing. This young woman living in a luxury penthouse apartment in Sydney's eastern suburbs with 2 Rolls-Royce worth millions of Australian dollars, enjoying an unbeatable harbour view, had no social media accounts, no company registration, no property records, and no trace on LinkedIn. The contrast between her silence online and her luxury lifestyle pushed the public discussion into a frenzy. Soon, some people came out to deny the rumors. They said a 70 million bail is impossible. Media asked Australian police, and the police politely denied such a huge bail. But the tide of curiosity about who she is did not stop. Quickly, 4 main theories appeared about who LanLan really is. The first theory is she is the great-granddaughter of former Chinese President and Central Military Mission Vice Chairman Yang Shangkun. Her wealth, they said, comes from monopolizing the iron ore trade between China and Australia. The second theory, she is the descendant of a powerful political marriage between 2 major families in the Communist Party. Her great-grandfather was General Yang Chengwu, a founding general of the People's Liberation Army, first commander of the Beijing military region and acting chief of staff of the PLA. Her other great-great-father was General Qin Jiwei, who served on the Central Military Commission and who once helped Xi Jinping secure his position in Fujian province. The rumor goes even Xi feels this family. The third theory, LanLan is the daughter of Xi Jinping's younger brother, Xi Jinping. The fourth story, she is the secret daughter of Xi Jinping himself. This idea was supported by Canadian writer Sheng Xue. After these 4 ideas circulated for a while, the fourth theory seemed to gain more support. People even compare her photos with photos of Xi Jinping's mother Qi Xin and Xi himself when young, saying they look very much alike. Sheng Xue even claimed exclusive secret information on March 8, 2025, at night. LanLan flew from Sydney to Hong Kong. 3 cars picked her up at the airport. She got into a Lexus Alpha luxury van, went straight into Shenzhen without stopping in Hong Kong, and stayed at the Shenzhen guest house, where she met her grandmother Qi Xin, who loves her and looks just like her. Sheng Xue said LanLan's mother is said to be from Guangdong. She also said the Shenzhen guest house is reserved for senior CCP leaders, important foreign guests, and very high-level internal figures. It is run by the Central Guard Bureau and the Guangdong security system. Only core central members can live there. Xi Jinping's mother, Qi Xin, has lived there for many years. So, by August 15th, the case became so hot that her court session was packed. Inside, so I need to. So inside and outside the court, crowds of reporters Bloggers and Sydney's Chinese community members came hoping to see LanLan in person. The courtroom could only hold about 30 people. 1 hour before the court hearing, it was already full. Others had to wait outside the building, but they were disappointed. LanLan did not appear in person. She showed up only briefly on video, less than 10 seconds of her face, the rest spoken by her lawyer. Reports say her lawyer arranged for her to appear by video again at the next court date, September 26. This fueled even more rumors that because her special identity, China and Australia had made a secret deal. At the same time, 2 news items were spread online. On August 12th, Chinese media said Australian apples were approved to enter China for the first time in 15 years. On August 8th, Australia's mining giant Fortescue announced it received about $2 billion in loans, mainly from the Bank of China and Industrial and Commercial Bank of China. Chinese social media linked these events, claiming they were part of a bargain over LanLan. But in fact, the ample deal was already agreed in April, and Fortescue's loan, though announced August 8th, was negotiated back in July. Still, the strange thing is, even when rumors are easily to disprove, their popularity does not die. Reports about LanLan are often deleted on Chinese sites, but new ones always appear. And first, I thought maybe the CCP authorities themselves spread this topic to distract from the protests in Jiangyou, Sichuan on August 4th and 5th. Those protests were against police injustice, and people shouted slogans like "Give us democracy" and "Down with the CCP." But over time, it looked more complicated. On one side, some force was trying to suppress the LanLan topic. On the other, some force kept throwing out new rumors, pushing the heat higher. It seemed 2 strong forces were fighting behind the scenes. This makes me think LanLan's background is probably not simple. It must be said, Xi Jinping's family is already deeply rooted in Australia. Reports show Xi Jinping's second sister, Xi An'an, her husband Wu Long have lived long in Melbourne and even got Australian nationality. Wu Long has run businesses there for years, paving the way for the Xi family. Xi An'an's son Wu Lafei is also in Australia. Xi Jinping's younger brother, Xi Jinping, is also said to hold Australian permanent residency and owns large property and business assets there. He manages overseas investments of Xi's family. But the most famous is Xi's cousin, Qi Ming. He is no stranger to Australian media. He appears often in money laundering investigations and crown casino scandals. He has long been an Australian citizen. He was investigated for moving huge sums through the casino and suspected of washing dirty money. Reports said Xi Jinping's spending at the casino was not just rich, it was VVIP among VVIPs. He could spend hundreds of thousands or millions of Australian dollars in one night, like pouring water. Money laundering through casinos is a typical way for the CCP elites to move money overseas. Official figures say that by the end of 2023, China's outward direct investment stock was about 2.96 trillion US dollars. In 2024, the flow was 162.7 billion. That means by the end of 2024, China's total outward investment should be around 3.1 trillion US dollars. What does that mean? Since joining the WTO in 2001, in 23 years until 2024, the total cumulative foreign investment into China was only about 2.58 trillion US dollars. So China's outward investment is even bigger. But inside China, foreign brands are everywhere. Supermarkets like Walmart and RT Mart rank top in chains. Convenience stores like 7-Eleven, Costco, Lawson, Family Mart are everywhere. But overseas, have you ever seen a Chinese chain supermarket or convenience store? Almost never. In business services, foreign companies' investment into China is about 246.3 billion US dollars, only 1/4 of China's outward investment. Yet the result is the big 4 accounting firms and the 7 big consultancies dominate top auditing and consulting in China. In property management, 5 foreign real estate agencies crush the Chinese ones. Meanwhile, abroad, we hardly see any strong Chinese service firms taking root. So the conclusion is, a huge part of China's outward investment is fake. Economists estimate at least 1.6 trillion US dollars of the 3 trillion is not real investment, but money moved out under that name and divided by the elite. With this in mind, the LanLan case makes more sense. Even when the rumors are absurd, like the 70 million bail or the Apple trade deal, people still believe them. Why? Because one truth remains: China's elite really do move giant wealth overseas. It is true that LanLan could have unimaginable money. It is true that Xi Jinping's family is rooted in Australia, with relatives as VVIP gamblers. So LanLan did not just crush a Mercedes. She crushed Xi Jinping's story of common prosperity. While ordinary Chinese people struggle to survive, she drove custom Rolls-Royce in Sydney. Crash one? No problem. She has another one in the garage. This contrast cuts deep into the hearts of Chinese people. It makes them ask, how much longer can a system continue where the blood and sweat of a billion people supports the waste of a tiny elite? On August 2016, former Chinese entrepreneur Hu Lizhen, now in America, revealed in his YouTube channel that he received reliable news. Two top doctors from Shanghai were urgently called to Beijing 301 hospital the night before to treat a very important figure. He believed it was Xi Jinping. Soon, online rumors claim Xi Jinping had collapsed emotionally because of the LanLan scandal and was rushed to the hospital. Whether true or not, one fact is clear. Since the CCP's annual Beidaihe meeting, Xi Jinping has not been seen in public. Political rumors about him have never stopped. So, between facts and rumors, the big question remains: how much longer can Xi Jinping's dictatorship really go? And will his downfall drag down the entire CCP system as well? Okay, if you found today's program valuable, please help spread the word by sharing it with your family and friends. You can also visit my website at jenniferzengblog.com to subscribe as a member for more unique news and analysis, or consider supporting my work with a donation. Every bit of support helps keep independent voices alive. Thank you. See you next time.